But today's video is the first video, so I thought what would be the best first video than to show pretty much every single thing that I have ever crocheted. Hello and welcome to this first ever video on my brand new channel, which is Stitched by Shona. As you can probably tell, my name is Shona and this is my crochet slash little bit of other crafts, maybe a little bit of sewing and some other things that I like to do. But mainly my crochet channel, showing you some of my crochet creation to see. So that is what this channel is going to be about, but I'll probably do another video with a little bit more about me, a little bit more about what I want to do with this channel, because I started crocheting last year, February 2022, and I've not sold, I've not really other than giving things to my boyfriend, I've not really given anything away. So I actually have everything pretty much in this box. There's another box down there, and then I have a few things dotted around as well. But yeah, I pretty much still have every single item that I have crocheted, from the very first thing to the things that I've made this morning. So let's go through them all. Let's have a look at everything and maybe review it, rate it maybe, and yeah, we'll just go through from the first thing I ever crocheted to the most recent thing I've crocheted. So yeah, the first thing I ever crocheted, which was this little, I think he's supposed to be a jellyfish more than an octopus, but this little guy, and hopefully the camera will pick him up there for you. But he is made out of, and again I don't know the term for this kind of yarn, and it's more like a ropey kind of, again the one you would use for doing macrame stuff. But yeah, I saw a tutorial on YouTube for this little guy and I tried to copy it the best I could, and as you can tell he's just horrendous. I mean, he doesn't have safety eyes because, like most of us, I didn't have safety eyes, so his little face is just sewn on with some black yarn. His little mouth I couldn't even do properly. The actual crocheting on the top is not too bad. However, hopefully you can see the crochet on the bottom of him where I needed to start decreasing is just shocking. And I do remember I was fairly proud of him when I first did him. Now I'm a little bit embarrassed by him. He's covered in dog hair. His little tentacles, I couldn't even give him more than 4 tentacles because I was just done. But yeah, there's this little guy. He's got a little bit of stuffing in him. He's special, really. That was the first ever thing I crocheted, was this little guy, but I'll probably always keep him as a little reminder of the first ever thing I crocheted. One thing I might do actually is I might try recreate him. I might try find that YouTube video that I followed for him and try it now I'm over a year of crocheting, and see if I can do a better job at him. So my dog has just decided that she wants some cuddles, so I'm just giving her some cuddles if you're wondering what I'm doing down here. But whilst just tipping out the bag of stuff that I had in the box, I found this little guy, which I think might be my second attempt at the little crochet jellyfish, and I think he's even worse than the first one. Again, no safety eyes, so his little face is sewn on. Look at how big those holes are. I mean, I think I was trying to decrease. Look how tiny those holes are compared to them ones. Yeah, these guys were just not great at all. You can totally tell I have no idea what I'm doing. Look at the bottom. Oh, bless me. Yeah, But yeah, I even tried to tie him his little top. I also think, just because I saw another girl say it on her video, that I think this is the wrong side out. Again, as most of us now know, there is a right side and a wrong side to crochet, and I think I did the wrong side out. Pretty much my first two things that I've crocheted, and they're something, really something. Okay, so I think this one is the next thing that I crocheted, because it's in the same colour yarn as the little octopus, oh no, little jellyfish that I showed you, and it's this guy. This little blob dinosaur. I mean, the only reason you can tell it's a dinosaur is because of its spikes, which actually are not too bad. Again, no safety eyes, it's just sewn in. I've even sewn the eyes the wrong ways. One eye is sewn across and one eye is sewn like up and down. Again, some really random big holes in him, and then some really tight crocheting. The bottom, what is that? Big hole in his side there. He's definitely understuffed because look how flat he goes. But again, a funny little guy. I think this was when I thought, oh, something bigger might be easier to make. No, I was wrong about that. And I'm just trying to decide which one to show you next because they're both just as shocking as each other. I think I'm going to show you this little bunny next. I'm pretty sure I probably made all of these roughly about the same time, so a bit of random yarn. So I'm not too sure how well I did with them, but I think that I did this guy next. Again, no safety eyes. I'm fairly proud about this one because I don't think I followed a pattern for him. I very roughly followed a pattern for him. I just kind of went off some of the stuff I've kind of learnt from the jellyfish and kind of learnt from the little dinosaur, and just pretty much had a go just to see what I could do. The decreasing on the bottom is just shocking, so I'm quite glad that the legs cover that up, and the same with the head, because he's sewn onto himself. I didn't really have to show that, so that gets hidden as well. But his little ears are pretty cute, his little arms are pretty cute, his little legs are pretty cute. I'm fairly proud about this one. It seems as I was fairly early on, and again, I don't think I followed a pattern for this. I think I did pretty well. There's a big jump up in my technique. And then the next thing, which was probably made about the same time as the bunny because it has basically the same yarn, is this little blob chick, which, I mean, look at them eyes. What are those eyes? I think I tried to, instead of just doing like a little slit of an eye, I tried to actually make a round eye, and they just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and now one's bigger than the other. I did a pretty good job at decreasing at the bottom. I like his little flappers, I like his little beak as well. This guy, not too bad. Not too shabby. This was the next thing that I made, which is pretty much like a bralette that I wanted to have as like a little tie halter neck moment. So a little bit like this, tie there, pretty much. This took so long, but I'm fairly proud of it. I did make quite a few mistakes on this one. The sewing of joining the two together is pretty rubbish. I'm pretty sure that I sewed them on one facing the other way. I can't remember why, but I feel like they are. I'm pretty proud of doing this little, like, I think it's called scalloped edging, where there's these little bumps. I'm pretty proud about that, and I quite like that kind of edging. I I just have bits just hanging out everywhere. Back is okay, this bottom bit is okay, but the thing is, I'm never going to wear this, ever, because it's not something I'd feel comfortable in, so I'm not sure why I made it. But it was something different, and I probably would have a go at making another top or crop top or bralette thing in a style that I would wear, but yeah, it just takes a while for stuff like that, and I'm pretty sure I was doing a half double crochet, so it just took ages to make, and yeah. Okay, so next up I think is this little guy, which I think was supposed to be pineapple. I just kind of freehanded this, I think. The little wavy bits on the top I couldn't quite do. Okay. The little wavy bits on the top I couldn't quite do, and I think I just gave up eventually. But is this little pineapple, he's cute, but he's not really much of a thing. Next up I wanted to have a go at making, basically I wanted to try and do flowers, but realised that doing the petals are quite difficult, so I ended up trying to make a sun for some reason, and it turns out okay. The little petally bits aren't as nice as I would have wanted them to be, but it was good to have a go at something like that. So again, that one's just a meh. I wanted to try it, see, kind of learn a bit of a different technique for that one, and yeah. And then the one after that is this guy. Now, I think he's supposed to be a dinosaur, the long neck dinosaurs, I don't know what they're called, but he looks a bit more like a golden Loch Ness monster, and he's just all kinds of wrong. His head doesn't face the right way. He's got loads of holes in him. That's again from me struggling to know how to do a decrease. His underneath is really bad. His little legs aren't even sewn on the right ways. I gave him a go, but again, I didn't know all the things that you need to know to make something like this, so I did struggle quite a bit with him. I'm not sure if I did follow a pattern for him, I think I might have done. That's something I will say. Any of these that I do know where the pattern is, I will link it below on a Google document, because I know a lot of the other crochet YouTubers do that, or if it's a PDF document, or if it's a website, or if it's a YouTube video, then I will link it below for you guys. But some of them I do just freehand, some of them I just go a bit rogue and make whatever I want, basically, and that's sometimes a blessing and sometimes a curse. So some of you, I highly doubt many of you know about a game called Viva Pinata. Me and my boyfriend were playing it once, and he said, wow, you could really easily make one of those animals on there. So I tried to pick the easiest one to make and make it with my crochet, and this is what I came up with. So it's supposed to be a sheep from Viva Pinata. I mean, give it a Google and you'll see what I mean. It's quite hard to explain really, but because I was a little bit fed up of the being really bad at decreasing, what I've actually done with this is I started with the magic circle and did pretty much half of a circle, and then did the same on the bottom. So started with a magic circle, did half, and then just joined them both together, because I didn't want to have a really rubbish bottom part where I just couldn't decrease, because I liked how great I did the top part, but I just really hated the bottom part, so that's what I did. And now I have this really wonky join that goes around the middle of the sheep. I'm pretty impressed with my embroidery skills for this one, with all the swirls on him. Again, no safety eyes, so the sheep is faceless. He has no eyes, no face, no nothing. He's got these tiny little legs, which I quite like as well. I'm pretty proud of this guy, even though he's not finished. Most people won't know what he is, but I think quite a few different skills for this one, and he was pretty good to make. Okay, so this little guy is something that I saw pretty early on as well and wanted to have a go at. Again, he's not perfect, he's a bit wonky, but it's this little dinosaur. I can already see that for some reason I've stuffed him with yarn and a bit of stuffing. I'm not sure why I've done that, but I think that's because I didn't have stuffing at the time. But look at how big those gaps are. They're not supposed to be like that. Again, the bottom, not too great, a bit weird. I don't know how to close off, I don't know how to finish. I did have safety eyes for this. For this guy. I'm not sure if they're fastened in. Yes, they're fastened in. He's got little safety eyes, little black ones. I finally got some eventually. Finally ordered some off of Amazon. But this guy, not so bad, but definitely not the best, really. I think I probably used the wrong crochet hook for him, but he's okay, I suppose. Okay, so the next one is one that I saw on Pinterest, and I'm pretty sure most of us have seen this one, but I just fell in love with it when I saw it, and it's this kind of like not corset, but little, I don't know, I'm not sure what you're supposed to call this, like a corset belt suspender thing. And I mean, for those of you that have seen it, you probably know exactly which video I'm talking about, but for those of you that haven't, it's just pretty much a like suspender belt that you pop on like so, and then you get this bit, and then I'm not going to tie it because I can't really be bothered to tie it, but it just kind of comes along here, and then it just like cinches you in a little bit on your waist. Hopefully you can see that. But because it's not made like the best, I mean, look at that. It's not, it should be straight there, but it's not. Because it's not made the best, I probably would never wear it really. I just have it now. But I did like it. I did fairly enjoy making it. It was fairly straightforward. It's just lots of lines. It just takes a while to make something like this, but a fairly good one to do just as some kind of like mindless crocheting, where you can just do pretty much, I think I'm doing single crochets in back loops here, so just pretty much crocheting all the way down to the end. So yeah, that's this guy. Going off of that, I think this was something I made around the same time, where I wanted to make a headband, like a bit of a everyday kind of headband that I could wear. So I made this one. Again, just a couple of straight rows of crochet, and then again I did that nice scalloped edging around again because I like it. But so for some reason I don't cut off the ends of my things in this kind of phase, but this was a pretty little flower that I made. This I remember took me forever to get the hang of, and it's like a puff stitch of some sort for the petals, and I just, for whatever reason, just couldn't get the hang of doing it properly. I find it so difficult to do, to make a puff stitch. Once you've kind of gathered up all the yarn and then you're trying to yarn through all of, like, there's quite a lot of rows of yarn, I found that really, really difficult to do. So this took forever to do. I think I attempted it about at least 15 times, undoing it, trying it again, undoing it, trying it again. I'm fairly proud of this, but it was just so difficult, and I found the puff stitch was really, really hard, so I kind of gave up and didn't really make any more of them. But now I'm a little bit more experienced, I might give it a go because it does look so cute. Okay, so are you even a crocheter if you don't make a bee? Now, my bee was this. And then that. I mean, look at that face, that's terrifying. That is not a cute bee. That is really scary. His little mouth that I sewed on, his little eyes again, this was before I had safety eyes, so they're sewn on really badly. His little wings, I don't know why he has so much fluff coming out of the back of him. I think this was my first attempt at colour changing, and I'm pretty proud at doing the colour changing. I think that's quite good. I think I put the wings over where the colour does change, just to hide that, but I am fairly happy with that aspect of it, but that face, that's scary. This one's in my make up my own pattern phase, and can you guess what it is? I mean, I'm going to say pop some comments in, pop your answer in the comment section. I'm not going to tell you what it is or what I was attempting to make, but I'm going to let you guys guess in the comment section what you think this is supposed to be. This that I made when I just thought I could make anything, and I would just make up my own pattern. I would look at something and just go, I can do that, and just give it a go, and this is the product of that kind of thinking. So let me know what you guys think it is in the comment section, and that is definitely a hint. Next up is one that I saw, and I'm pretty proud about this one, I think it turned out pretty well, is this watermelon slice. I quite like this one. I don't like how it dips in the middle, but that's okay. But this was interesting to do because when I first saw the picture of one of these on Pinterest, I was like, oh my god, that's so cool, how do they make it into like a semicircle? And it did take me a while to realise that it was a circle folded in half. But once I realised, I thought, oh my god, even better. But this is a little watermelon slice, which I think is adorable. Yes, I have tried sewing on to him the little seeds, but I'm pretty proud about this one. I think that one turned out fairly well. Okay, this one again is in my I don't know what I'm doing phase, but I'm just gonna give it a go and see what I can make and just attempt to make things phase. But a little love heart. If you squish it into place, it looks more like a love heart, but it's in just a nice white plushy yarn. This is, I think, the first time I used the plushy yarn for these kind of things. It's not something I use all the time really. I'm not one of those crocheters that always use plushy yarn. I just kind of use regular yarn. Or is it called double knit? I think it's called double knit yarn. But yeah, this was, I saw it and I kind of knew. I based it off of making this lump here for this one, to make the two lumps and then joined together. Maybe looked at a pattern but didn't follow the pattern for this and just kind of did it off of my own head. And that's a nice cute little plushy art which has absolutely hideous, really wonky stitches, but again, I wasn't following a pattern. I had no idea what I was doing, but it still turns out what I want it to turn out. Now this one is an unfinished one, and it'll probably never get finished, but this was an attempt at a ghost. I really liked the white plushy yarn, so I really wanted to have like a nice little ghost teddy. It was at the time of about Halloween, and I really wanted a nice just plushy teddy that I could have, and it could maybe like sit on my sofa. But yeah, this was one where I made two flat pieces and then sewed them together, which you could see the sewing or the crocheted all the way along the edge. Again, rows are just shocking. I just had no idea what I was doing. I'm pretty proud that I did manage to get this shape, but it was quite difficult getting this shape, and I would have made this bit bigger and it to go like that, but yeah, this is something that will never get finished. It'll never become anything now, so it just sits in the box. Now is where I feel like I started to get better. I started to understand a lot of the things and a lot of the terms and how to properly do things. And I'm really quite proud of this little guy. You can definitely, one, you can tell what he is. Two, I think the stitching up until the bottom is really, really good. I mean, that's his top. That's his bottom. Again, it's only been since recently that I've known how to properly decrease. I really struggled with doing the decreases. But again, colour changes along him. Safety eyes. And his little beak is adorable. So this little guy I'm pretty proud of. This guy is probably the start of me getting a lot better at crocheting. So I'm really quite pleased with this guy. I'm just going to check the camera is still recording because we have been going for a while now. So after I made that little penguin, I had the white plushie yarn, and then I went and got the grey plushie yarn so I could make pretty much the same penguin but in a plushie. And I'm pretty sure I followed the exact same pattern. This is how the different sizes turned out. May have tried to make this guy a bit bigger, I'm not sure, but that's how the different sizes came out. I do love how cute this guy is, and I get it. I get the appeal of the plushie yarn. It makes them look so much sweeter and so much nicer. Look at that bottom as well. It kind of masks my really bad attempt at doing a decrease on the bottom. So I get why the plushie yarn is pretty much like the favourite yarn in the kind of crochet, I'm not going to say the word, but this word, community, because it just looks so good. It hides mistakes as well. It does look great. But I like this guy. He's really cute. He'll probably come out at Christmas time as a little decor piece. But yeah, pretty proud of this one. I just found the remains of the ends of a dinosaur, which is quite sweet little boy. I don't know, I might just unravel him, make the blue into something else, because I have this little tiny strawberry that I tried to make. I think crochet strawberries are actually adorable, but my one, not so adorable. I'm not sure what it is about it that just doesn't look as cute as the other ones. But yep, that was probably my first attempt at little strawberry. Cute, but meh. And then next up we have this guy, which is this whale. I definitely followed a pattern for this guy and I quite like him. I think he's really great. He's big. I don't know what I'm going to do with him. I'm not sure about the sewing of the white piece underneath, and I think that's something that I'm not too keen on, is the fact that the white piece sticks out so much from him. But I think that has a little bit more to do with my sewing and how I sewed it onto him than anything else, so I might try and sew a different way. But this big whale that is pretty cute, I quite like him. He's really hard and thick. Something I will say is this guy I have a double knit yarn for, but what I tend to do is I tend to kind of triple it up. I don't have any yarn to demonstrate, but some of you might know what I mean. Triple it up so then it becomes a bit of a thicker yarn, and then crochet with it. It does make things a lot harder to the touch, but it makes the yarn a lot thicker, which I quite like. So it's kind of almost got the thickness of the plush yarn, but it's hard feeling. So that's what I tend to do for quite a lot of my crochet stuff now. So here's probably like one of the first ones I tried it with and quite like it, so yeah. I have this attempt at a cactus, and again this is 2 flat pieces put together and then crocheted together all the way around. Look at the big gaps in that one. I'm not sure if that's it's supposed to be a single crochet or a half crochet, or half double crochet, but that guy, he's really wonky for some reason. I'm not too keen on him. I'd probably retry to do that, but that was just a first, see how it goes, see how it turns out. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, and that's probably quite a lot of my projects, especially like these beginning ones. It was just see it on Pinterest, give it a go, see if I liked doing it, see if it turned out fairly nice, and then if I did do it quite nicely, then I'd probably make another one. If not, then I probably would just do the one and then chuck it in the box. So after making the big whale, I made him a little whale. So I believe, like I was saying for this one, I tripled up the yarn. This one is just with using the yarn singular and without tripling it up, and he turned out just as nice as well. He's a bit softer than the other one. I did sew the bottom on slightly different with this one, hopefully you can see, but not the best, and again it still sticks out quite a lot, which I'm not too sure I like really. But these two together I think are quite cute. I quite like them. It's almost like a mummy and a baby, but yeah, that's these two. Okay, so one my boyfriend likes to make, the one thing that my boyfriend likes to do is to challenge me to make things for him. And these are some of the things that I've made for him that he has either requested or things that I made off my own back for him. So he likes to just give me really random things to make, and I just don't usually follow a pattern. I just try and see what I can come up with, and this is one of those things. So this big guy is a fall guy, and those of you that are familiar with the game, it is a game where you race against other fall guys and through obstacle courses basically. So you race through an obstacle course, and this is one of the guys from it and is big. I didn't mean to make him this big, but he's really big. He is made out of a slightly different yarn than any of the other ones that I've used. I'm not quite sure what kind of yarn it is. I'll find out and I'll probably put it on the screen. But he was in I think he's a double crochet that I did with him, so he is quite holy. My boyfriend really wanted these like wavy lines, and hopefully you can kind of see his wavy lines that go all around him. He wanted him in rhubarb and custard colours, so I got this really nice pink, this really nice like golden yellowy colour, and yeah, this is this guy. He took a lot longer than he looks like he would take. He took a lot of stuffing and he took up a lot of yarn as well, and I enjoyed making him. He was quite good to make. It was quite nice to try and do the waves on him. I like his little feet. I think his little feet are good. but he just sits in my office at the moment, and yeah, I think I would have tried to make him smaller if I did him again. My boyfriend likes him, and yeah, he just chills out in my office now. So I've just checked the video and I've been recording for 53 minutes so far, and I still have quite a lot to go through, so hopefully I can edit this so it's a lot quicker than how long it's going to take me to record. But next up, so this guy is the first thing that I ever crocheted for my boyfriend. So I think I definitely followed a pattern for this one. I think probably some of you that do crochet have probably seen this pattern. I think it's adorable. But he is in his body is a plush, kind of like plush grey, and then this is just a double knit crochet yarn. But I mean, look at his little tail, look at his little face, look at his little feet as well. We put little nails on his little feet. I think he's adorable. I love him. I mean, I'm really proud of this guy. I love his little eyes. I just love him. I just don't know what else to say. I love these kind of like floppy legs and arms. I think these are great. And yeah, I would probably make loads more of these, and I might maybe make some more of these because they're just super cute. I love how just like kind of floppy he is, but not floppy. Really happy with this guy, and my boyfriend really loves him as well. One of the other things that I've made for my boyfriend is something that I don't actually have with me because it is currently in his car. He likes to have him in his car and drive around with it, but it is the alien from Toy Story. So again, for those of you that know, the little aliens from Toy Story, he loves them, they're his favourite character, and that is his favourite childhood film. So he asked me to make one of them and was fairly confident that I could make one of them. Attempted to make one of them, and this alien was so hard to make. It really took every ounce of skill that I had learnt so far in my crochet kind of journey to make him, and I like literally applied every single thing that I'd learnt to making this alien, so it was really difficult. Again, it is quite a big one as well, and I'll try and get a picture of him, and if I do, then here is a picture somewhere on the screen. But he's really big, he was really hard to make, he took up so much yarn, but I am really proud of making him because it was so difficult, so technical, especially not having a pattern for it, and just trying to do it off of my own head, and I'm really proud and impressed that I was able to do that off of my own head and my own brain. So that was the Toy Story alien. If I was to make him again, I'd probably make him a little bit smaller just to make it a little bit easier on myself, but it was just so hard to gauge a size when I was trying to make it because I had no pattern or no reference to go off of. So this is something I've actually made myself, and I just have it as pretty much as decor in my house, but it is these like hanging plants which I saw somebody have on Pinterest, and I just thought, oh, that's adorable. So I thought, how can I make my own version? So we have this one with, I think these are called puff stitches, I can't remember what kind of stitches they are. I'm trying to see. Or bobble stitches, sometimes that's what they are. And I just love it. It just hangs in our bedroom, just off of a shelf, and it just looks so adorable. So these little guys I made pretty early on in my crochet journey, and I'm really, really proud of them. I definitely followed a pattern for these because I would not have made these any other way. But I have two of these little chubby, chunky, squishy boy frogs. So I made them ages ago. They had been sitting on a windowsill in my living room for ages, and they're just so cute and adorable. I love the little eyes, I love the little arms, I love the little legs. Again, underneath's decreasing, not that very good, but they're just adorable, these little guys. And I did put a little keychain on them, and I think somebody out there would love them. They're not perfect whatsoever, there are quite a few imperfections on them, but they're sweet, they're cute, and maybe one day they'll go to a nice loving home, and I will definitely be recreating some of these soon because I think they're great and adorable. So remember this little guy from earlier? Well, I actually got around to recreating that one more recently in the same colours, and this is how he turned out. And again, this is with me tripling up my yarn, and that's how much bigger he is. Look how much better quality he is as well. I mean, you can really see it on that side, and he just looks so much better like than he does like this, and especially now that he's stuffed with stuffing and not just yarn scraps. So I recreated him. He looks like his little waving there. He's got his little arm up waving, but I didn't make one. I made two, and I have half made three. He unfortunately does not have any arms or legs because I ran out of this green colour yarn, but I do love how these three turned out. I think the pattern is adorable. I do follow the pattern for this one. I think it's adorable. I think it's great. It's fairly easy to do, and I love how you can do whatever colour combinations you want as well. So that's these little guys. I love these little guys. But that's where it started. That's where we're at already. So keep practicing, because you can go from this to this. So one thing that I really wanted to try and make was some mushrooms. So this is one of the first attempts at a mushroom that I just hate. I do not like this at all. I didn't follow a pattern. I just made it up on the spot. But it is in a really thick yarn here and then a thinner yarn up here. There's so many holes in it. There is just... I didn't like the sewn kind of spots or the sewn speckles on it. I just really hated the way they looked on it. So I started experimenting and trying to play around with different kinds. So I made this one with a pink instead to see if I liked it better with two of pretty much the same, just different colours. Again, I don't like how the spots look on it. So then I tried to sew a little button on, so it's actually a circle. I did try to crochet some small circles and put them on, but I hated them even more, so they just didn't even get on to the mushrooms. But I tried to put a button on there to see if I liked that anymore, and I didn't really like that anymore, and I had taken off a few of the buttons from this one, so I didn't really like that. So what I did instead was make them without the buttons on and in different colours, and also into a different size, and I like these so much more. These I think are adorable. So simple, so easy to do. Again, pattern that is just made up out of my own head. I just roughly copied a picture of an idea that I liked and just made the pattern up off of my own head, but I just love how these ones look. I have some bigger ones. The bigger ones are when I was experimenting with some patterns, and so some of them are a little bit different shapes. That one is a funky one, which I don't actually mind because mushrooms are all different kinds and different shapes, so I don't mind that them ones are a bit different to each other. I think they're still kind of cute, still kind of nice. I do keep them in IKEA bags. I keep most stuff in IKEA bags now, most of my newer stuff, because hopefully I will be selling some of them on my Etsy shop, and this just keeps them a bit nicer, a bit cleaner and free from dog hair, because my dog always is next to me and dog hair gets everywhere unfortunately. So I try to keep them in these just to keep them organised and clean. Save you. I'm not sure who I saw do this, but I did see another YouTuber say that she keeps hers in plastic bags to keep them nice before she takes them to the market, so I thought I'd do the same. So next up are these little frogs. These are slightly different to the other ones, they're just like little frog heads. I have done a couple of these ones. They're all slightly different to each other, but I'm getting better at closing up the ends and decreasing. There are less holes, they're a little bit tidier at the bottom. They're not perfect by all means, and they're not the best crochet in the whole entire world, but I think they're good. I think they're cute, and they would do as just a little cute little thing. So that is our little froggy guys, and as you can see, I'm starting to get into the swing of really simple basic patterns with a couple of little added sewn on bits, because yeah, some things, the more complicated the harder it is basically, so having like really simple patterns to do, I usually tend to make a couple of, and they're just much more fun to do because you aren't struggling doing them. And on the subject of simple easy patterns, I did have a go at these little piggies. Now these aren't a pattern, these again are just something I've made off the top of my head. I have experimented here, really these three, just, oops, let me get this little guy, are just three variations of an experiment and me just testing out different ways of doing things. As you can see, all three of them are different, they're different sizes, they've got different noses, they've got different ears as well, but I still think they're quite cute, I think they're quite nice, and I mean, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with all three of them, but I think I just like trying out and seeing what kind of things I can do with patterns that I've made up out of my own head, and just see, trial and error, and see which ones work the best. But that is these guys. Again, bottoms, not perfect, but better than what I've done before. That one's pretty bad. I think this one has a fairly bad bottom, but getting the hang of sewing the ears on as well. Sewing is another big thing that is really hard to do and hard to get the gist of, so I like to try and do different ways of sewing as well and see what works the best. I made these two cows. I do have another one, but she's not finished, she still needs her little nose. Again, these are just patterns that I have made up and just got off a picture and just seen what's happened. So again, they're slightly different to each other, but real life animals are slightly different to each other, they're all unique, so that's fine with me. She's got slightly bigger ears than she has, but I like to use the different colours, the brown and the black, and also I like to just make up the kind of splodges, the spots that the cows have, just again to make them different. They're individuals and not all looking the exact same, they don't all have the same splodges, but underneath are getting much better slowly. Sewing is getting a little bit better as well, but I quite like these guys. I quite like making these guys. I think they're adorable, and I'll probably make quite a lot of these because they are quite adorable. So I made this week, and it is a shark. I think this pattern is great. I love the way this shark turns out. There is just a couple of slight adjustments I would like to make to it, but I think it is great. As you can see, I feel like this as a finished product, especially considering that it is a little bit of a different, you've got to do a couple of different things to it. This guy is pretty cute, and because he's so cute, I made him a baby. This one I very roughly followed a pattern for, or near enough followed the pattern. I think I've just made a little bit of an adjustment. This one was free-handed from the stuff I learnt about this one. I just free-handed for this guy, and I really like the little baby one as well. I think the little baby one is adorable just as much. I think they're so cute together. So I'll probably make a couple more of the little baby ones just because that would be a really nice chunky keyring, and this would be just a nice little plushie or desk pet, or I'm not quite sure what you would have this for. I'm probably going to put him in my office, and this one I'm not too sure I'm going to do with, but yeah. This is another thing that I've made this week, and it is a hippo. I found this pattern just off Google. I did try to find a pattern of similar as what I wanted, which was just him standing with his head. A lot of them were kind of a bit more in like a teddy bear form, but I really like this kind of pattern. Again, I would probably make my own little adjustments to it, but I think he is adorable and he's just so great. And again, this compared to this, I know they're not the same thing, but just the technique has gotten a lot better, and you can tell that I've got so much more experience now, and I'm really happy with this one. I'm really proud of this little guy. Now these next ones, I think they might be my favourite, and it is these little blueberries. They are more purple than blue, but these little blueberries that I made this week, I think they're adorable. They're so cute. They're so easy. They are just, I mean, how adorable is this little guy? So I made quite a few of these. I really like them. They're so simple, so cute, and because the top is actually the bottom, so you start with your magic circle up here and then you work around, and then this is your top, and then you finish with these little bits. I'm not sure what these are, just like the top of the blueberry. I don't have to finish off as nicely because I can just sew it closed and cover it with these little bolly bits, so that's always good. And yeah, these are just really adorable, really easy. I followed a pattern for this, but then I couldn't understand the pattern when it got to doing these bits, so I actually just made up my own bit here, and I think it turned out really well. So I really like these little guys. They're just so cute, and I do love that they've just got little eyes. I did think about putting a little smile on them so that they've got a little face, but I actually just like the fact that they've just got little eyes. I might put some blush on them, so if you think that they should have blush, then let me know in the comments, but I quite like them the way they are. And I like that some of them have eyes really far down, some of them have eyes really far up, so the faces are slightly different as well to each other, so they're almost like different little personalities, just even though they've got eyes on. And one thing I'm going to say whilst I'm here is if I sound like I'm quite snuffly, or I sound like I've got a blocked nose, then it's probably because I have a blocked nose. I have had a blocked nose for about maybe 5 years now. It's an ongoing problem with my nose, so I breathe out of my mouth a lot, so it sounds like I have a blocked nose pretty much all the time. So if that's something you can pick up on through the audio, and I'll probably know how it sounds when I edit it, but if it sounds like I've got a blocked nose, it's because I have a blocked nose and it's an ongoing problem, and I'm not ill, I just have a blocked nose. Now this guy is the most recent thing. I finished him this morning that I crocheted, and it's this little, I believe it's mallard duck. I think he's so cute, so adorable, he's very sweet. Again, I didn't follow a pattern, I just followed a picture, but I then realised that there was a pattern to the picture that I could follow. So I might try and make another one of these. I need to go get some more brown, but I might try and make another one of these following that pattern. But this was my attempt not following the pattern, and I think it turned out pretty good. So, and also, other than a little bit of stuffing sticking out, I think that bottom is pretty good. So that is a lot better than the first one that I did. So pretty happy with that guy. And that is pretty much every single thing that I have ever crocheted, from the very first thing to the thing that I finished this morning. So that is just over a year, well, a bit over a year of crocheting. And yeah, you can definitely see that my technique gets so much better, that my skills improve. You can see that I like to experiment with different skills and different techniques and different types of patterns and different stitches as well. So like, I'm quite open to anything. I like to be quite creative with my crocheting. I don't just like sticking to patterns. I like to think of my own ways to make something. I really love seeing a picture of either a crochet pattern that somebody has already done, or just seeing a picture of something, and then I like seeing a picture of something that someone's either crocheted or someone has either, or just an object of something, and making my own version of it, just freehanding it. I don't tend to write patterns down. I write some down, but I tend to just freehand it and see what it turns up like. But you can pretty much see that through all of my work, all of the things that I've done, and yeah, so that is everything I've crocheted in just over my first year of crocheting, and I'm pretty proud of how far I've come with it. I hope that you guys liked seeing some of the things, well, pretty much everything that I've ever crocheted, and kind of seeing my progression from start to now. And if you want to maybe see me recreating some of the things that I've made, maybe we can recreate some of the quite wonky ones and definitely some of them early ones, then let me know, and I'll probably do another video on recreating some of them, or I might put them as just recreations on my Instagram, which I will link below if you do want to follow my Instagram. Thank you for watching. Hopefully my camera is still recording, and I feel like I'm going to have such a big job editing this afterwards, but that's okay. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here to do on YouTube. But thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.